Welcome to Untamed Blossoms, the podcast where we celebrate the wild and beautiful journey of womanhood. We're here to create a space where women can connect, inspire, and uplift each other. Untamed Blossoms is more than just a podcast. It's a movement. It's a gathering of strong, fierce women who are breaking free from society's expectations.
Our mission is to deep dive into the stories of incredible women who have embraced their authenticity, even in the face of adversity. We believe by sharing these stories, we can inspire others to do the same. Join us as we sit down with women from all walks of life who have faced their own struggles and emerged as the most authentic versions of themselves. From entrepreneurs to artists, activists to adventurers, we'll explore their triumphs and tribulations. Together, we'll navigate the challenges of self-discovery, self-acceptance, and self-love.
But Untamed Blossoms is more than just conversations. We're a community that gathers for events, immerses ourselves in the beauty of nature, and supports one another in our personal and professional growth. So whether you're seeking inspiration, looking for a supportive sisterhood, or simply want to hear incredible stories of women blazing their own trails, Untamed Blossoms is here for you. Together, let's embrace our wildness, bloom unapologetically, and rewrite the rules. Welcome to Untamed Blossoms.
Welcome to Untamed Blossoms. I'm your host, Amanda Riley.
And I'm Cristi Riley. Welcome to the pod.
This is our first recording in our studio.
In our studio. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited with all of our new podcasting equipment, y'all. So hopefully you're noticing a difference in the quality of the production today.
Yep.
We are giddy with excitement today.
Probably top 5 days of 2024 is today.
For sure.
Seriously.
Yes.
And a huge shout out. If you guys remember Haley, she was our very first guest on the pod around imposter syndrome. Her husband helped us pick out our new equipment and he is well versed in this. So shout out to August. Thank you for your help.
August, thank you so much. We're so excited.
Today we haven't recorded in a few weeks.
We have not. We've had a busy December is crazy for me for sure. I don't know about you, but my month of December is insane. So thank you for the rest.
December was dark.
You did.
It wasn't crazy. It was emotionally dark, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's a good season for rest, and we wanted to be able to record in here, move out of my little office into an actual studio, and that's what we got the time and space to do.
That's right. That's right. And we're excited.
Yeah.
This is a whole new, I know that we've talked about this off air, but super excited about all of the things coming. The energy shift that has happened recently is huge. We both feel it. So really cool things coming, hopefully in 2025.
And I'm really excited because we have pivoted a lot in our direction of where we're going. And the biggest pivot I think we made is leaning into us in our podcasting and telling women's stories. I know that might seem obvious if you're a listener, but we were doing and trying to accomplish a lot.
In true manifesting generator fashion.
Correct.
We were trying to turn everything into a business. And for those of you who might be new to us, Amanda and I have tried to create a business around every idea we possibly have because that's what we do. And so the fact that we settled on Untamed Blossoms and podcasting sort of organically came out of that after multiple tries about what we were going to do. We were going to do events. We almost bought an event venue.
Wild.
Yeah. And thank you, Sarah Wren, for your amazing guidance per usual. And she really did a reading for the business. And if you guys have never had that done, I still recommend it. It truly has given us absolute guidance through the year and letting this sort of naturally, and it was actually in the business's design, is that it is a trial and error business, that we will try a bunch of things and it will naturally progress into what it's supposed to be. And it has.
Yeah.
And we've tried a bunch of things that were marginally successful. And The podcast is really what we feel passionate about, both of us, in growing our audience, telling women's stories of all
Absolutely.
kinds. And it did start out as a more of a business, and we would love in 2025 to have just more women on telling their stories, whether that story is about a struggle, a win, their life story, an older person who's wanting to share their life story and all the knowledge they've gained, whatever that looks like. Like, we're open for all the storytelling in 2025.
And I feel like at the beginning, we were really focused on helping women who have businesses, and it's
Still,
still a huge
yeah,
part of what we're
absolutely.
doing and what we want to support. But I think opening it up more to storytelling is something that we're both passionate about and we know will benefit everyone, because really that's what this is all about,
Right.
is us all being able to share what we've learned and help someone else through storytelling. So I'm really excited. We are going to, and it might not be the first week in January, but we are going to start doing 2 episodes a week. So you'll have
Yep.
your full episodes still every Sunday. This episode will air on a random day, which is tomorrow, Tuesday, because it's New Year's Eve and
New Year's Eve. Yep.
it's our last episode of the year.
It's our wrap up session.
And this is our wrap up, since we have had a few weeks without an episode. However, we will start doing a midweek bloom episode, which is just a shorter, 20 to 30-minute episode of us highlighting maybe a person in the community, initiative in the community, something that we're just adding value and sharing, something that we find beneficial. And then you can still look forward to our full episodes every Sunday. So
Right. Right. And
really excited.
you know, over the course of this year, I know that this is really what we're wanting to talk about, is kind of what we learned throughout the year and kind of doing a recap. But we've had so many amazing women on telling their stories. And I can honestly say I've learned something from every one of them.
What has been your biggest takeaway, do you think, from, we started in July. So thinking from then to now, what has been one of your biggest takeaways from a guest that you've gotten? I know I'm putting you on the spot. So
I mean, that's an easy one. If you have to say the biggest takeaway, I think is probably Sarah's episode. Sarah's been such an integral part in our growth and this business and how it's progressed. And I think her guidance and wisdom is something that's been huge in my life, and I know yours and the business's life this year. So I'd have to say that it's Sarah's input, whether that was from her, maybe it was from her, not necessarily from the podcast itself, but her overall just friendship and love and guidance, and I think has been the most impactful for me.
for sure.
Yeah.
I found it interesting this year because some of my good friends, obviously I knew would listen to the podcast, but I didn't know how much support would come from that. Not just listening, but 2 of our friends, I will say, Cristi and
Yeah.
Carrie, both have been excellent at just like giving feedback and sharing what they've learned throughout the episodes. And it's been interesting, whether it be Carrie, Cristi, or, my brother, people just saying what they've learned and what they've taken away that I thought were not moments of notice, that I didn't think would be a key learning for anybody. And then to have them say that to me, or say, oh my gosh, I learned something so interesting, about Columbus through Chrissy's story, or so something so interesting about Carrie's life, when I know that person knew Carrie for, 20 years. It
Right.
just was very interesting for me to hear that. I just wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, me too. Same. The key takeaways that I thought would be a learning point for people was sometimes not that at all.
Totally.
Yeah, it was something totally different that was noticed or arranged or whatever. So it was an
Yeah.
interesting thing. Yeah.
I also feel like some of the women we have met in the community, like Dr. Mary, or, Mimi with Women Affirming Women, I would have never thought or knew that there are people doing that kind of thing. And it was so awesome to hear their perspective and what they've been trying to do to build community. And, I feel really lucky that we have crossed paths with some of these people.
Right. I it, I have been isolatory, I think, in my journey for several years. And what the beautiful thing about this is that, sometimes you want to be more involved in your community and you're not sure how.
Hmm.
And what I hope that this allows people, especially in the Columbus area, is just giving people a glimpse into what people are really doing and passionate about, and giving you the opportunity, possibly through listening to us, to join in with one of these groups, to join what they're doing. And if it all sounds interesting to you, and the fact that I've got to understand what all of these folks are trying to accomplish and have a part of it, and some people have the time to dedicate, some people have the funds to dedicate, some people have the microphones to dedicate, right? So there's a bunch of different ways to support your community, and not to be afraid for any of those to feel like it's having an impact and being effective. So
Totally.
yeah, it's been a real blessing for me this year.
I also just thought of this, literally just got this from the universe. This has been the first time I have not been afraid to leverage other people and their skill set. And what I mean by that is, unfortunately, for myself and everyone involved in my life, I have a hard time receiving anything in any way. And this year has taught me so much of like what's possible when you don't live in the lane of, I have to do everything myself. I have to prove myself to everybody. I have to be the one, the end all be all, the start, middle, and ends. Like, I can't let anyone help me because that will show that I'm not capable. And turns out that was a huge mistake, because look at all the wonderful things that can happen when you allow yourself to receive. So I would say, for me personally, the biggest gift this has been is really learning that. I remember getting that tarot card almost every reading I've gotten for years and years and years. The receptivity card, like, be open to receive, being open to allowing help to come your way, like all of those things. I never allowed that to happen, and that caused burnout for me in my relationships and my career, because I just was terrified of anyone feeling like I relied on them for anything, no matter how small. And now that I dealt with some of that shit and I'm able to receive, it's been like beautiful.
Yeah. Boundaries. I feel like you've done a really good job with resetting boundaries this year.
Yeah. And just
Yeah.
saying, like, hey, I'm not the one. I'm not the one that's going to be everything.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's been helpful.
Yeah. Even having difficult conversations, even the one day when you were like, "You know what? I can't have this conversation with you today." Great. Like,
Yeah.
it wasn't unkind. It wasn't, and it was well received and like heard.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
and just being able to have people around you that you can say those things to, and
Yeah.
it's not the end of your relationship. You don't have to worry about it later. Just okay.
Well, I think that also comes with surrounding yourself by the right people.
Right.
I think for a long time, I surrounded myself with people that I was constantly walking on eggshells with, and that I knew would manipulate or hold me hostage in a situation, or make me feel guilt, or, whatever else that might be. I had so many of those people around me that I could have never said, hey, can we just not talk about this right now? Because that would have come up in a conversation a week later and been a whole thing. And now I just don't really have anyone in my life that I feel fearful of saying that to. And if I do, that's a really good
Mm-mm.
notification for me, is saying, like, wow, why is this person one of your closest people, yet you can't just tell them?
Right. You can't be honest with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's helpful.
Reevaluate that. Yeah.
What do you feel like one of your biggest takeaways personally, just for you, has been this year?
That I don't have to push all the time, 24/7 pushing,
Yeah.
proving, you and I share that similarity, proving myself by what I do and what I produce and how much I produce, and how much activity I'm putting out, productivity, and just rebalancing myself in that world, that the business doesn't have to be pushed. You've been a huge gift. Sarah's been a huge gift. The business has been a gift. And then I'm like, okay, we've talked about this before, every 2 weeks. I'm like, we need to shift into gear. What do I need to do to make more money or to be profitable or, like, because I'm in that mindset with business that it's
Mhm.
about money and this isn't.
Yeah.
And that's been a huge gift, and that it's growing naturally. It is truly in service of other people. Do I hope that it provides us with an income at some point? Sure, of course. I don't want this to be a side hustle for us forever. I want it to be able to sustain us and still
Mhm.
be doing great for everybody around us. That's what I would love for it to happen. So, but just being reminded that I don't have to push. I
Mhm.
don't have to push. I don't have to prove. I don't have anything to prove to you, that you're over here going, what do you mean? What are you doing? Um, you're doing so much, reminding me that I don't give myself credit for all the things that I do that comes easy to me. That I just am like, well, that's just what I'm doing. That's
Yeah.
not extra. That's not the work, right? That's just what I do. And not giving myself credit, like, no, that is a lot of work and that is a lot of stuff you're doing. And you should give yourself credit for that and also give yourself rest if you need it.
Right.
And it's okay to rest. It's okay to take the time that you need to do whatever it is. And so that's been a huge blessing for me this year and just trying to really relax into that space. And when I get antsy, having you and my husband and even Sarah going, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, we're all here to remind you
Yeah.
that you matter and your rest matters and your overall wellness matters too. It's not all just about you pushing for an outcome, a result, another person, like your productivity and in whatever ways you're deciding to measure it today. So
Totally.
that's been a huge gift.
I think we're also on this path of trying to figure out like what's a good pattern for us to be able to rest and that we still feel good about what we're putting out there and still feeling good about what we're doing. And for me, I know I am a lot more likely now than I ever have been my whole life to say like I just need some time. Like I'm not pushing this. I need time. And I think this is going to allow us to be able to structure our lives in a way that we can do this while still balancing our mental health and the rest that we need. And doing this together is going to force us to have those conversations of like, hey, maybe we see if we can get a few more people in the month of February because in March I need some time to recharge. Now, that's not our energy type, so I don't see that happening per se, but
But
if
we
it
did
if it
that for
does,
December. We did that
sure
for
did.
December,
Yeah.
there was a worry from my husband. He's like, "You guys had great momentum. I'm worried that you're going to lose momentum from people." And we did it anyway,
Yeah.
because December was crazy for
Yeah.
me. And I mean, the sheer amount of events and then the stress of the holidays, we could have recorded. We could have pushed. We definitely could have, and I wouldn't have said no to you.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it. Is that if
Mhm.
you were wanting to move forward, I would have been like, "Okay, let's make it happen. I'll fit it in." But I was so grateful
Yeah.
that we took the time because it allowed what little bit of rest I was allowed in December. It was some of those days that we probably would have recorded.
Right.
And I will say that, my husband almost had a complete mental break yesterday. We were at our final event for the season. It was after Christmas and it was we had a great time and it was a great event with all the kids. And it was the very first time all of our children had been together for Christmas
Mhm.
ever
Yeah.
in the time that we've been together. We're a blended family. So they have other parents and my older three are married and they've got, in-laws and the whole deal. So it's hard to get them all in one place. And it was a real dedication of mine to do it this year. And I really wanted to do it. And we played Christmas game. I made it fun. We played Christmas games for hours. We ordered pizza. I made it totally not stressful for me as much as I could, but it was still a lot of work. We were exhausted last night. And, he's a full manifester, which means that he only has a certain amount of energy. And so by the end of this month, he's just like, whew, are we
That's a
about done?
lot.
Like it was a
Yeah.
lot for him. He's grateful for it and he loves it, but it's also hard for his energy type to stay sustained for that many events for the whole month. And
Yeah.
and for those of you who are new to us, we have every family member's birthday in December, big celebrations and an 18th birthday and a 15th birthday and my birthday and Thanksgiving. And all the things in between.
Mhm.
So it becomes, and then you start celebrating the holidays right when all of our birthday celebrations are over. So the early celebrations, the Christmas celebrations, the post Christmas celebrations, all the things. So December's a crazy month. So I was so grateful to you for gifting me that time. And now we know that we need to get extra episodes recorded in the fall so that we can cruise through December and really rest in that
Yeah.
time as much as possible. Sarah's always in my mind in December about this should really be the time of going into the darkness. It is the darkest time of the
Mhm.
year, and really being okay in that and lighting candles and resting and really be as restful as you possibly can. And I'm already starting to think about the holidays and how I can do that differently so that next December I can just rest during that time instead of feeling stressed and freaked out, and just really trying to manage that whole thing in my brain whole about the holidays, and really trying to change it for
Yeah.
for what is better in my mind, and better for my neurology and physiology, to be more relaxed and more present and not so stressed out about all the stuff that really nobody cares about.
Yeah.
I can't remember 3 years ago what somebody got me for Christmas. Like,
Yeah.
truly, can you? I mean,
Mhm.
we worry about these gifts so much, and really at the end of the day, it's not really what's important. It's about spending time with people you care about, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm leaning into more and more every year, and trying to make it fun for my kids and make it memorable and something they remember and their kids remember, and hopefully a tradition that they keep on is that, we just get together and we play.
Yeah.
And that's in my chart. I'm supposed to
Mhm.
play. And if it's not fun and I'm not being playful, I shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
Says Sarah. So God damn it, I'm making it so.
Like, I'm doing
I'm
this.
making it so. So that's been huge for me. And I think that's this whole last 6 months of us recording has been such a blessing. And I feel like we've been doing it for a lot longer than 6 months.
I
Don't
know.
you?
Oh my gosh. Yes and no. I feel like in one way we just started, and then also that I've been doing this my whole life. Maybe it's because I love it.
You
But
do love it.
I
I think
just
you're
feel
meant to
like,
do it.
I told you this, I think it was last week. I have always been a fan of a microphone, but also more than that, like I always knew I wanted to do this. Like the moment I got the opportunity in college to change my major, I did. And the moment I got the opportunity to have a radio show, I had two. We only needed one for the credit. And I was like, no, I will have two. Um, and back then, having a radio show, I went to Heidelberg and Tiffin, Ohio, and we had a really scary haunted communications building and very narrow stairs. I don't know how that was fire code, but point is, I remember the happiest time of my life and in schooling was once I switched my major and got to go up there to that recording studio and have a little record light show above the door, and just like the joy of doing that. And I went through this whole weird thing in life. I've been really thinking about this a lot, where when I was really young, I was like a show woman. Like I loved dancing. I was in all the different things. And I continued that, but definitely some things happened that kind of dimmed that light for me. And I, whether that be like the way my body looks or, whatever else I was going through in those years, I really stopped putting on a show in lieu of like being smaller. And when I went to college, it like picked back up, like I was able to do that again. And a lot of that was due to alcohol and like being more comfortable in my skin because I was drunk, and then going through these last 2 years of sobriety and realizing I was finding my voice again, and to come back to the voice part of that is like really magical and like beautiful to know that this has always been something I wanted. And I went through so many different like iterations of what that looked and felt like, mostly trying to feel good about myself. And now I feel so comfortable in who I am and my voice and what I want to say and how I want to show up. And it's authentic. And yeah, it just feels good.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Crazy. So
what a journey, right?
whew,
This
what
has
a
been such a great
journey.
teacher. This podcast, this Untamed Blossoms entity has been such a great teacher, which is what projectors do. So yeah, it's teaching us all kinds of new things about ourselves. And honestly, I can't wait to see what all of our guests, we've been really hitting the pavement hard, talking to entrepreneurs and other women, and just really getting our schedule booked up for recordings.
Yeah.
And we're just hitting it hard, girls. We're after it.
Yes.
And I'm excited.
And because we had the space to relax in December, we also got more time to
Right.
reach out and line up a bunch of incredible women to come on the show. And that feels exciting too, that although we weren't recording per se, we still made a lot of moves and it was a very short time.
Right.
So,
yes. Yeah, it wasn't a long time. Yeah.
what is something, first personally, and then I guess for the pod, that you want to focus on going into the new year? Not a resolution because those suck, but
No,
just
we
like
don't
some
do
things.
resolutions around here,
No.
ladies. I don't know if you guys know this about Amanda and I, but we don't really participate in diet culture, nor do we participate in resolutions.
And when you're a manifesting generator, any day can be a new resolution.
For reals.
Like literally, like in 3 weeks from now.
You could have 3 in one day. Let's be clear.
Seriously.
The amount of energy and ideas that come to us is really astounding. I want to focus on being outdoors more. I think for me personally, and there's the good news is I purchased a property that needs me to be outside a lot. So I'm real excited. I'm just leaning into the things that really turn me on and get me real excited and doesn't feel like work. And one of those is this land is beautiful, but it's been neglected. So it needs a lot of just love. And, I really want to plant flowers and have a cut garden and plant my own food. And there's just a lot here that's going to keep me outside, which I'm really excited about. Just to be outside and to be barefoot and connected to nature is real important to me this coming year, more so than it ever has been. I came from a subdivision where everybody sprayed their grass with poison. So I'm really happy to be out here where nobody's spraying anything, and I can really be barefooted and connected to nature and tending it, which makes me feel good, that I'm giving my attention to the land and back to the earth. And that makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
And that I can do that and create a space that is visually beautiful and soothing to my soul. And also a place where people come to Untamed Blossoms to record. They'll be coming here, and that it's beautiful, and they're like, wow, what a beautiful spot, right? That we can record here and host people here and have events still, and really just have it be aesthetically as beautiful as it is soulfully beautiful, because it feels good energetically. Everybody says when they come, like, this is a great place, it's a great spot. And I want the curtains to match the carpet, so I want it to look as beautiful as it feels. So that's going to be a large focus of 2025 personally. The podcast, just to keep showing up for it, just to keep showing up. And it is getting me involved in the community the way I wanted to be, and yet never could find the initiative. So when I was saying that earlier, it was me. Like, I'm like, I need to be involved. I need to find something that I'm excited about. And I think it's hard these days to find the thing to get involved in, to know where to start and how to get your foot in the door. And it can be intimidating by some people. And by this, I feel like I'm getting an introduction to all of these cool things, and I'm able to participate in a way that's getting the word out and might draw people in that is really passionate about that particular project. And also, because they've been on the podcast, they are now part of our family, and we're going to their events and supporting them. And because what they're all doing is amazing. None of them is doing something that we're like, oh, I can't get behind that. Right? Like, they're all doing great things, whether it's their business, it's art, it's, what Sarah's doing with human design. Like, all of it is just really, really cool. The women affirming women, all of them are creating creating community in their own way. And what a blessing that is. And we're creating a community just by promoting them and being a part of it.
Yeah.
And I think it's really just a gorgeous weaving of a web that has really been beautiful. And so continuing to just be an usher of that web building is a beautiful thing to witness, and letting it show up however it's going to show up.
I love that.
What about you?
I would definitely say personally, I am in full throttle. We got to get out of this consumerism hellscape capitalistic nightmare that we're in. And I am feeling so confident and so good about sustainability and showing up for myself and my friends and the community in a way that supports sustainability in every way possible, and to really think about what I'm buying and where I'm buying from, and doing everything I can to trade services and to reuse and repair. It is definitely turned into a massive passion of mine. And I think that will weave in personally and professionally with the podcast for me. I refuse to be a part of what we're all in right now. I'm not blaming, of course, anybody for that. It's literally the culture that we're in. But I want to grow my own food. I want to, you know, make sure that I'm not supporting big companies and businesses that are destroying this earth and supporting politicians that will destroy the earth. I'm going to try my hardest. Like, we all have to care. We all have to put in an effort, and it doesn't feel like change can happen sometimes, but I do think it can. And I
Oh, I
think
do
that
too.
everyone is feeling the same pressure. And it's a pressure we get around the holiday time. It's a pressure we get when we feel like we need to perform or give someone the perfect gift. And none of those things matter. And we
Right.
know that.
Right.
So for me, really, really focusing on less stuff
Mhm.
and more quality time, more time in nature, as you mentioned, just more time like loving on the earth and doing the right things for the earth. And that's for me, not purchasing things from Amazon all the time, not going to buy an outfit every time I can. And honestly, these last 6 months have been the biggest teacher for me around my own habits and really examining. There's a difference between like I shouldn't versus I can't. And I've been
Right.
in I can't mode for a while. And that has now taught me what I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
So,
What a beautiful lesson that is, right?
totally.
You've taken what some people could be as like, wow, that was really hard. And you've really turned it around into this is what this situation, which has not been easy, has taught me.
Oh, yeah.
And I've gotten a huge lesson from that, and a huge that you know already in your soul that is going to be a huge lesson. And for those of you who've ever struggled with anything financial, or find yourself in a pivot situation where finances are tight, and you're scraping pennies, right? And you're scraping nickels together. What that looks like. You're living paycheck to paycheck. And right now, listen, gas prices are high, groceries are high. Lots of people are not, are living paycheck to paycheck. It shows you where your habits are, where you've been what you've been spending, and do you need that? Sometimes the needs and the wants. Do I need this or do I want it?
Well, it's confusing.
Yeah.
It's confusing because of the culture we live in.
Yeah, it tells you that the things that you really just want, you just
You
want it.
need.
You need it. You got to have it. Yeah.
Right. And
But
then
it's
when you
really not.
realize you can't, you're like,
Mhm.
oh, I never ever actually needed any of that.
None.
So, that has been really, I'm very grateful for what I've learned, no matter how tough it's been. Like, I'm very grateful because it's changed me completely. So, and then I think that will something I will continue to support and seek guests on our pod for people who are doing that work. We looked on Facebook, there's so many sustainable groups here
I
in
love that.
Columbus.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are so many. So like let's tap into that community and
Yes.
interview some of those people who have been doing this work in the community. And I think of places like Java Central, and it's such a community-based coffee shop, right?
Yes.
They support the community in so many different ways. They even have a little food pantry in there. Like there's just so much so many of these places are already doing, like, how can we support them through the pod?
They're
So,
doing as much as they can in their little space, right?
yeah,
To really support what they can, the community, and it's really important to them. And that place is never not packed, by the way.
never.
Like the energy shows up for them tenfold that they're putting out, which is really beautiful to witness. And for those of you who don't know, Java Central is in Westerville, in Uptown Westerville. It's an adorable place. You should go check it out if you've never been there.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think, for today, we just wanted to do a little catch up and let you know what's coming.
Yes, we're grateful. I think that's really what we're trying to get across in this is that Amanda and I are incredibly grateful to all of you for listening, our audience, our guests who've come on, who've been a part of this. We talked about the Christmas culture and, we have a group of realtor ladies that we love who do a really nice job in making all of their customers feel appreciated by them all year long. And I said, we should really take them into consideration and what are we going to do for our business, right? Like I love that these ladies do that. And she's like, we're definitely not going to do anything at Christmas because you don't need anything else. And I was like, thank fucking God. Sorry for cussing, but that's exactly how I felt. And she's like, let's do a spring event to thank all of our previous year's guests and a blooming event and I was like, oh my God, thank you. So that might be a spoiler alert, but that is coming. And I was so grateful to you. I'm so grateful to all of our guests. I'm so grateful to all of our listeners. We couldn't grow this without any of you. So if we continue to resonate, please share us. Please like us on all social media, on all of our platforms. Um, we're really hoping with this space that we're going to also be launching on YouTube in 2025. So
Totally.
that's our big, huge announcement.
We're going on video,
We're
people.
going on video, so you can kind of see us. For those of you who like to listen on YouTube, a lot of people like to have that visual, like they're part of the conversation, and we hear you and we're responding to that. So
Totally.
we should be up and running hopefully in 2025 to be on video. So
We also will have, an event on the 26th here
yes.
for the clothing swap. Super would appreciate you sharing the event on Facebook, coming to the event. If you cannot come and you want to donate clothes, you can drop them off to myself at my house or here at the Untamed Blossoms Ranch. We also will pick them up. If you're local
Yeah.
and you're like, I don't have time, but I would like to donate some clothing, we will come grab them, no problem.
Yep.
I really want to say though, you don't I feel like sometimes people get in the mindset of, well, I don't really need anything. I'm sure other people need and it's not about whether you need or don't need. It's if you want to refresh your clothing and you want to refresh your wardrobe, you don't always have to go buy new things. Like
Right.
I can tell you some of the things I donated, I know I maybe wore once. I've already had 3 people drop off clothing to me who said, "I barely wore half these things. There's some tags on these things still."
Right.
It's more about refreshing your wardrobe in a sustainable way, so please feel free to come and browse. Even if you don't have anything to give, that's okay. You don't have to
Right.
bring something to be able to take something.
Right.
And you also don't have to come and grab something if you just want to donate too, either way. But we would love to see you. We're going to treat it as a networking event as well.
Right.
We're going to set up at noon, start shopping at 1. It'll go to 5. So come hang out, meet some people,
Yeah.
in and out at your leisure. So.
It'll be fun. We'll have a few snacks. So
Yeah.
And just come and hang out. And we hope that this also finds its way to women who really need clothes, right?
Yeah.
Who may not be able to financially afford it or spend all of their funds supporting all of their other family and kids for Christmas and really need something for work. There should be something for everyone. So if you're in that boat, please come.
Totally. All right. Well, until next time, see you in 2025.
2025. We love you guys. Happy New Year.